This is Larry the Bearded Wonder with World 1-1, and you're tuned to the World 1-1 Podcast Network. Press start to engage your mind.
Welcome to Noob Reviews, a podcast where we play new games with zero skills, zero experience, but all the fun.
On today's episode, we are talking about the most recently released game in the Metroid franchise, Metroid Dread. So continue on to see if Metroid Dread is the game for you. Hello, I am your host Zoe, and welcome to the first episode of Noob Reviews. Before I get into today's review, I just want to quickly go over what it is that we do here. I myself am not what you would call an avid gamer. I like playing video games, but more as a passive interest rather than something I do all day, every day. Due to this, I have some skills, but nowhere near what a hardcore gamer might have. So I take my limited skills and I try out new games. I play the game for a month or until I beat the game, whichever comes first. Afterwards, I make a review of the game for newbie players about whether or not I think this game would be good for them to play. I base my score primarily on the overall difficulty of the game. Things such as game genre and aesthetics are more subjective, and so I leave that up for the individual to decide. After my review, I give the game a score out of 10 for how difficult I think this game will be for the player. 10 being super difficult, don't touch it, I couldn't even play it, to 1 where this game is so easy that it wasn't even enjoyable. Well, with all of that out of the way, let's dive into today's game. I recently played and completed Metroid Dread. I chose this game first because as of the time of this recording, the game came out only a few months ago, back in October of 2021. I was initially reluctant to play this game due to the difficulty I had playing other games in this franchise. However, my partner, who is a huge, enormous Metroid fan, which might even be an understatement, stated that this game seemed much easier than its previous titles. And when I saw him playing the game, I thought, man, that really does look like a really cool and interesting game. And I have to agree with his assessment about this being easier than previous titles, and here's why. So one of the key aspects of a Metroid game is exploring the world and collecting new abilities. Getting these new abilities open up parts of the world that you didn't have access to before. Now, in previous games, when I would acquire a new ability, it was tough to always remember where to go back and use this ability. Metroid Dread helps eliminate some of that struggle. When you acquire a new ability, there is an immediate need for its use. Usually you're trapped in some sort of area and you have to use the ability to get out of that area where you collected the ability. Also, usually right near the ability is some sort of obstruction that you can use this new ability to acquire, which is usually only, maybe a few screens back, rather than in previous games where I have to remember something I did 10 or 15 minutes ago to use this new ability. Also, on the map, there is this great feature where you can highlight the areas where this new ability can be used. For example, when you get the missile ability, you can now open missile doors. On the map, you have the option to highlight where all of the missile doors are. This helps you quickly see new areas you need to get to. Also, getting new abilities helps to create shortcuts between areas, which really helps shorten the time while you are backtracking, which is another huge component of Metroid games. Another aspect of Metroid games is that many times where you need to go is hidden in blocks of the environment. You can shoot out these blocks or do other abilities with these blocks and continue forth in the game. It's such a key element of these games in this genre that at the beginning of the game, they make you aware of this, that hey, if you don't know, try shooting at the blocks around you. Later in the game, however, you gain an ability called Pulse Radar. This lets you see these blocks without randomly using your abilities on your surroundings. When you use pulse radar, it will show you the areas where blocks can be broken. Now, you may not always have the correct ability to break through those blocks, but at least you know that it's there and that it exists, which is very helpful because you find useful things behind these blocks, sometimes extra missile packs, extra energy packs, and lots of cool things to collect along your way and help ease of the game. This helped a lot in the game when I was struggling about knowing where to go. I would just use my pulse radar and say, oh, hey, look, there's this block that I need to break that I am unaware of, and I would be able to continue forth. Now, I have covered what made this game easier, so let's talk about some areas where I definitely struggled. Metroid is huge on world exploration and backtracking. You have to go back and forth in between these different world sections. You'll get an ability in one area and you need to go use it in past areas to open up new things to allow you to continue forth in the story. And this can make it very frustrating on always knowing where you need to go next. I have pulled up the map multiple times and seen that I've done everything in this area. I don't know which area I need to backtrack to go to, and sometimes I find myself jumping in between multiple areas. There was even a time where I almost rage quit because I couldn't find my way out of this ice area, and I swear I ran back and forth 3 times, maybe more, looking for a way to get out. I had to seek guidance from my helper, the disembodied voice, to know what to do. I actually had to hand them the controller so they could help me figure it out. Also, I had to refer to the map multiple times to try and figure out where I needed to go. Now, this may have been a me-specific problem because of my ADHD and always remembering things that, the whole out of sight, out of mind aspect. But I would even go to say, unless you're great at remembering directions and your surroundings, you and the map will be best friends. Also, while the small creatures you encounter in the game aren't that big of a deal, a lot of them can be countered by using your counter in the game and are fairly easy to surpass. The bosses in this game were no joke. Many of them killed me over and over and over and over and over again. It can be very, very discouraging. You really have to pay attention to their patterns in order to beat them. You also need to pay attention to the tells for their moves to know which move you need to do to not die. Because one wrong move can cost you. Also, even if you know the patterns for one phase of the fight, like with the end boss, you'll get to the second phase where they have this complete new set of attacks and you're back at square one, getting defeated over and over and over in that second phase. So you might fight a boss, I don't know, I swear I fought Ravenbeak about 20 times. I would get past phase 1, and then phase 1 became easier, and then I got stuck in phase 2. Phase 3 wasn't too bad. It mirrored phase 1 a lot. He only threw out a couple new abilities, but they were pretty easy to counter. But you can spend a good while attacking a boss, and if you're someone who is easily discouraged, this can be very difficult, and I would say that the bosses by far were the most difficult part of this game. With all of that in mind, it is time to give Metroid Dread its score. And Metroid Dread receives a 6. I gave this game a 6 because it isn't the most difficult game I've ever played, but the frustration level may definitely get to some players, and I would say the frustration level could be very high in this game. I will say, however, that if you aren't a newbie gamer and you're just new to the Metroid franchise and you're looking to break into Metroid itself, I would definitely start here over other titles in the franchise. This gives a good glimpse into how the franchise works, while still giving you tools to help navigate how the franchise works, whereas in older games you don't have as many tools to help you. And I had lots of fun playing this game, and I loved the challenge in this game, and I would definitely recommend this game to other people. Also, quick update, because it happened after I had completed this game. To make things easier for newbie players, they have added something called Rookie Mode. Now, with Rookie Mode, it tones down the damage that the creatures dish out, but also when you collect health, you get a much larger increase in your health than you would in normal mode. So that is something that is very new, only came out within the last maybe couple of weeks, and would definitely go to help any newbie gamer looking to get into Metroid. Well, that is a wrap for this episode of Noob Reviews. We hope to catch you next time. Keep on playing, gamers.
Make sure you're following us on Twitch to catch the live streams at World 11 Podcast, all spelled out, all one word. You can catch our past streams on our YouTube channel at World 1-1 Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Noob Reviews. Use 2 zeros instead of O's, and to catch all of the amazing content put out by the World 11 Network, follow them on Twitter at World1_1 Podcast. All other links, including to our Good Pods and our Discord, can be found in the show notes below.